What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the Xcuses podcast. My name is Kenyon. I am excited to be here. I have another great episode lined up for you guys today, and I appreciate you guys tuning in for that. Today, what I've got lined up for you is how to make yourself instantly more valuable. And what do I mean by that? I think that one of the best ways that we can fast track ourselves to success is to simply increase our value to our boss, to our spouses, to the world in general. That's how we can attain the monetary wealth necessary to have exactly what we want. So that's one of the biggest questions that I've got here recently is like, hey, Kenyon, how can I translate my skills into X, Y, and Z career field? Or how can I translate my military skills into the civilian world? So those types of questions really got me thinking about this subject. So I have three, tips for you guys on how to make yourself more valuable. And these aren't the standard tips either. Yeah, you can go back to college, read books, listen to audio programs, etc. to increase your value. But what I'm going to talk about here are some simple mindset shifts that you can make almost in an instant. And yeah, you might not necessarily instantly see results, but people are going to start noticing a difference in what you bring to the table. These are some intangible things that I think can be universally applied no matter what your career path, whether you're a stay-at-home parent, you can apply these things and be more valuable to every single person around you. And that kind of leads me into my first tip here. That's to simply come with an attitude of helping others get what they want. You might be approaching life in a maybe different angle in that you are trying to get everything that you want. Well, I would encourage you to stop doing that and take a step back and, think about what your wife or your spouse or your business partner want to get and help them start to obtain their goals. And I'm not saying that you set aside your goals and focus on theirs, but what I do mean is that you're being very narrow-minded and you're only focusing on yourself when you need to open your eyes a bit, become more open-minded. Just to give you guys a very quick example, in my own marriage, if my wife didn't think that I was valuable, if I didn't help her obtain the things that she wanted, I think she would pretty quickly leave the situation. I don't mean to make it sound, this sound impersonal, but, if we are providing value to other people, that value is going to be quickly returned to us. They're going to help you get what you want. I mean, this is something that I've experienced over my 20 plus years in the military as well. I would be a miserable failure as a leader if I didn't help other people get what they wanted, if I didn't train my sailors, if I didn't send them to the schools that they needed to become successful and advance their careers. I would be a miserable failure. So that's why this is near and dear to my heart, and why this is number one on my list here as I was thinking about this. So number two, seek out and put yourself in uncomfortable situations. Be willing to do what the average person is not willing to do, and you will become instantly more valuable. Do those dirty jobs. Become that person that can be relied upon to get the job done no matter what. And yeah, you might be thinking, it's the squared away guys that get screwed, that get all of the tough jobs, and might be looked at as the brown noser or the suck up in the workplace perhaps. But you know what? Are you going to let the opinion of others keep you from the success that you want to have? And I would encourage you guys to really start doing everything. Do it all. Take massive action and put yourself in these uncomfortable situations. Also related to this is put yourself in situations where you can be criticized. And this might sound a little counterintuitive to you, but if you are putting yourself out there and you show that you are open to criticism, that you are open to feedback, that you are putting yourself out there and taking risks, and that you are willing to learn and learn from mistakes, at least in my mind, I would pick that person over someone who is sitting in their cubicle and playing it safe. So my third and final tip for you guys today is to simply convince yourself that you are valuable. If you aren't convinced that you're valuable, how are you going to convince other people that you are valuable, that you are worthy of the pay increase, that you're worthy of being married to your wife, etc.? So convince yourself that you're valuable. So what does that look like in a nutshell here? Well, first, you have to become aware of the thoughts that are running through your head. You need to root out the bullshit that you're telling yourself on why you think you are not valuable. So one of the biggest things that I have found very useful in doing this is carry around a small memo notebook. I've had a habit of carrying a green memo notebook, from my time in the military, and it's just a habit. So I just stopped every now and again and really assessed my mindset, my state of mind, and wrote down some things that I was thinking about myself that just simply weren't true, and that I consciously started reprogramming my thought patterns. And just to give you a quick example, when I started this podcast, I had thoughts about, hey, I'm not a good public speaker. Well, that might be true. I'm not a great public speaker. However, the more I practice, the better I can become. So these are some of the thoughts that I started to purposely tell myself. I mean, some people might call these affirmations. You can call them whatever you want, but you know what? You need to focus on positive things, and if you become convinced that you're valuable, that's going to come out in your demeanor. That's going to come out in your language, your body language. People are just going to see you differently if you know that you're valuable. And I'm not telling you to go lie to yourself either, but you know what? I guarantee you, if you're listening to this podcast right now, you have plenty of reason to convince yourself that you're valuable, because you're the type of person that's committed to becoming more disciplined. You're committed to growth. You're committed to obtaining your dreams and your goals. So if nothing else, there's some good ways to get started there. And really the reason why our brains tend to focus on these negative connotations about ourselves is that this is kind of an artifact from our caveman ancestors, who were always on high alert for danger. And back in the day when saber-toothed tigers were chasing after us, we had to be on high alert. We had to be looking for these negative situations. So in the absence of that in today's day and age, to keep us safe, we kind of default to the negative bias. I did a Facebook Live on this a couple days ago, and if you aren't following me on Facebook, encourage you to do so and go back and watch that. But again, our brains tend to focus on the negative, and we have to put effort into finding the positive things in our lives. And if we aren't disciplined in finding those things, we're going to limit ourselves, and ultimately we're going to talk ourselves out of taking bold actions that are necessary to achieve the success that we want to have in life. So that's where I am going to leave it today, guys. I hope, pun intended, that you have found today's episode to be valuable. If you guys want to take this a step further and join us in our close Facebook group to start talking about these very topics that we discuss here on the podcast, you can head over to facebook.com/groups/0Xcuses, and that's excuses spelled without the E, Xcuses. And if you want to take it to an even higher level and want the accountability, some additional tools and structure to implement these very things that we talk about here on the podcast, have a couple of opportunities for you guys to do that. First is we do have a closed mastermind group, the Infinite Results Mastermind Group. You can apply for that at kenyonziska.com/ results. Or you can also hit me up directly, send me an email, kenyon.zitzka, kenyon.zitzka @gmail.com, and I can send you the application directly. And I also have a very limited number of spots open in my discipline coaching program. I'm actually offering a very, very discounted rate in celebration of our 1-year anniversary here. The first 5 people that send me an email and are interested in that program will be able to take advantage of that discount. Again, you can send me a direct email, or you can apply at kenyonzitzka.com/discipline. All right, guys, last but not least, if you haven't subscribed to this podcast on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts at, encourage you to do so. Also, while you are there, leave us a rating and review. This has really been very helpful in getting the word out about what we're doing here on the podcast, and I appreciate you guys taking time to do that. All right, guys, until next time, have a great one, and I will talk with you again soon.